So yeah, I thought I'd do a video on the topic, because every now and then people, they ask that, or they say, oh, I hear they don't live very long, you know, stuff like that. So today I'm going to talk about that and the differences between crows in the wild and in captivity. So this is Maple, one of our rescued crows, and we did a DNA test to find out the gender of Maple, and she was a female. And she's 6 years old, and you know, if you look it up, like how long do crows live, like you'll see probably somewhere around 7-8 years, they say. And today I'm going to talk about how long do they live in the wild, and how long can they live in captivity. So we have 3 crows actually. There's Peach, he's 9 years old. There's Cherry over there. He could be 9 too, but we think he's 8. We're not quite sure. So yeah, they live about 7 to 8 years, somewhere in there, the average. Because when you think of it, okay, they're out in the wild. What do they got to do out there? They got to find food. They got to find shelter. And they find mates usually. But you know, in the wild there's predators. There's a food shortage. You know, they don't get food, just go out and there it is. They got to hunt for it and find it, right? So that, and there's diseases like West Nile, and there's bird flus. And then the predators like hawks and owls and even other crows. Like if you're in a different area, a crow wanders into a different territory, sometimes they can harm each other because of that. They're scared of the mates being, you know, their mates, their food supply, their territory. And then there's humans, right? Humans hunt these beautiful birds. They shoot them because they're pests. They say, oh, they're hanging out and pooping in my yard or eating things, you know, and some people just don't like them, so they shoot them. So you could understand why 7 or 8 years, right? Because of, you know, they're out in the wild like that, and they have all those limitations. Now, all of these birds you see here, they're in captivity, obviously. 4 of them are imprinted, so they're used to humans. The only one that isn't imprinted is Cherry down there. He was rescued with a badly broken wing, and he was taken to a wildlife rescue, and then they asked if we wanted to adopt him to give a buddy for the first bird we had, Peach. So we took him in. But otherwise they're all in captivity here. So I have to laugh. A little while back I saw a comment, someone said, well, I've had a crow over 25 years. And then someone responded to that comment and said, how is that possible? I've read that they only live about 6-7 years, so how could that be? Like they're questioning that maybe they're lying, right? But like I said, a wild bird won't live as long. In captivity they could live 3 times longer than that. Who knows how long? Because they get their food, they get their shelter. There's no predators after them. We try to limit any exposure to any wild birds, so hopefully they don't get any bird flu and other things. So, you know, in captivity they could live much longer. And we also have 2 magpies. This is Pie, he's actually a talking magpie. He's not talking today, but it's about the same with them. They live a few years in the wild, but in captivity they could live, who knows, 20 years or more. And Pie here, he's imprinted. He's about as imprinted as they come. He'll go on my hand here, and he even talks with me, and he's excited to see me. He hasn't seen me for a while. But they can live quite a long time in captivity, and he's imprinted. So this, you know, he doesn't know, like, to be out there in the wild. He doesn't know anything about that. Like, he was rescued from a bad situation. I'll put some links below, check out the videos. I'll put a video about him, the story of Pie there. How he was rescued, and so you can understand a bit. But he could live, who knows how long, he could live a long time. He's also, he's 6 years old. Yeah. He was rescued about the same time as Maple was. So he's about 6 years old. And over in the corner there's Spice, he's a magpie. And he's about 5 years old. So we're not sure how long actually a crow can live. I mean, how long can a person live, right? It depends. Like, there's averages with everything. And that's the averages they give them in the wild, 7-8 years. And in captivity, you know, it depends. But these birds don't have to worry about where their food comes from. And we try to feed them as good as we can. We don't just give them like onion rings or potato chips and, you know, crap like that. That's not good for people to be eating that stuff either, right? Like now and then you're gonna have, like in moderation, have a little snack. Especially if you're traveling, like you're not gonna stop and have a 10-course meal, you know. So you'll grab a bag of chips or something. But to feed a bird that, and some people say, oh, that's no problem. I've fed them that stuff. They're scavengers. Yeah, he's starving. There you go back to the point where in wild they got to find their own food, and if they're starving and there's chips or onion rings or crap on the ground, french fries, they'll eat them because they're starving. So we try to feed them the best we can. I'll put a link to a feeding video we made once, and they eat all those things we show in the video. Not all the time. We don't give it all the time the same things. We switch it up a bit, but they seem to like the moistened cat food. When they were young chicks, the vets told us give them kibble, kitten kibble, like moisten it up, let it soak, and then give it to them. And then, you know, they'll get water from it and food. Here's some thunder in the back there starting up. Hopefully it doesn't come here, but at least these birds, we can put them inside, you know. If lightning strikes a tree, they're not in it. So we look after these birds the best we can, and not everyone agrees with what we do, but we rescued them and we made a commitment that we're going to look after them as long as we can. So guys, I'll let you go for now. So I hope that explained a bit of it. I'm not an expert, I'm not a scientist, but in captivity the bird is going to live much longer than in the wild because of those dangers, right? Like humans are hunting them and shooting them, and other birds like owls and hawks are sometimes after them, and there's diseases, and you know, in here it's controlled. So give a big thumbs up and hope you enjoyed this video.